Hey everybody, it's David at David in Progress. You may notice I am in a different place today. I just finished a 40-mile bike ride on my new e-bike, and it got me to thinking that many of you out there have asked questions about my bikes and riding bikes, especially now that I am in stage 2 heart failure. So that is what I'm going to do today. I am so excited. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about e-bikes and why you, as we get older, why you might want to consider getting an e-bike, not only for your health, but man, they are so very fun. And this is a bit of a bonus episode because it's so very different. I hope you'll watch it, and I hope you'll learn a little bit about the different types of e-bikes. Are you ready? Hey, let's talk about it. Well, all right, before we get started, a little bit of background. It was about a year ago, July of 2024, when I learned that I had a heart condition and I had to have quintuple heart bypass surgery. And I had a lot of concerns, of course, and one of them was about what was I going to do afterwards to stay healthy and to exercise. I am a longtime cyclist. I have been riding bikes since 1989, and it's not just something that I do, it's a big part of who I am. So, a couple weeks before the procedure, I purchased an e-mountain bike from a local bike shop. And when I was in the hospital, I would visualize riding that bike and what it was going to be like once I got out of intensive care and I was able to get outside and exercise again. And that is something that has really helped with my not only physical health, but with my mental health as I have transitioned into this new reality of where I am from a health perspective. And I find that I am not alone. You know, as you age, things change. It doesn't just take having yourself into experiencing heart failure like I am, but you know, years of running or other things, and maybe you just have never exercised. And now you are approaching retirement, you're getting a little bit older, and you want to get out and you want to get that exercise and you want to do it in a fun way. Well, to me, I think having an e-bike is one of the best ways to do it. Now, as you're thinking about e-bikes, it's really important to understand the different classes of bikes. Here in the United States, bikes are categorized into 3 classes, Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. And very fortunately, I happen to own one of each. Yeah, we have a nice little fleet here in our family. So Class 1, my mountain bike is a Class 1 bike. And what that means is a Class 1 bike, you always have to pedal. It will not go unless you are pedaling. And at 20 miles an hour or greater, that go assist from the motor stops and you are completely on your own. A Class 2 bike, which my wife rides a Class 2 bike, is the same thing. It has pedal assist, but her bike has something, it has a throttle. It has a magic button I'll show you here in a little bit. And you press that button and it will give you assist. It will actually go do all the work for you at 20 miles an hour. You don't even have to pedal. I love riding that bike and pressing that button. It does have extra assist all the way up to 28 miles an hour for this particular bike, but it's called Class 2 because of that throttle up to 20 miles an hour. The third style of bike, which is my newest one, is a Class 3. And the Class 3 provides that assist. That motor's going to keep going all the way up to 28 miles an hour. It does not have a throttle like the Class 2, but it will give me assist all the way up to 28 miles an hour. Knowing what class of bike you have is also important due to regulations. There are many cities and there are trails that have regulations that say what style of bike, what class is allowed on the trail. For example, most federal lands don't actually allow e-bikes at all on the trails because they consider it still to be a motorized vehicle. A lot of the single track trails, like mountain bike style trails, will only allow a Class 1 bike. And that's why I got that bike. I really wanted to be able to ride on the dirt trails around here, and I'm a rule follower, so I wanted a bike that would allow me to do that. So as you are doing your research and you are thinking about purchasing a bike, if that's something you want to do, make sure that you check into the different classes and what it is, and that it is within the regulations of where you plan to ride the bike. Okay, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go over the basics. Down below in the description, I will have a link to each one of these bikes where you can go into further detail. Keep in mind, these are just examples. There are so many brands of e-bikes out there, so many different companies. There seems to be a new company popping up every day. My advice to you, and one of the things that I really appreciate, is that I only buy from an actual bike store. No, Best Buy sells this bike, is not a bike store. And that is probably not where you want to buy a bike as complicated as this. Heck, you're on a rolling computer. Okay, let's take a look at this Class 1 bike, which is a Cannondale Moterra. If you look up the price, don't think, oh my gosh, David spent so much money on this. Well, yeah, it was very expensive, but I did get it for a really great price. So this bike is a Class 1. It is a mountain bike. And one of the things that makes it so great is that it has dual suspension. You see here, there's suspension in the front. There is suspension in the back. It is an incredibly comfortable ride, but this bike is made for hitting those dirt trails, climbing those mountains in Colorado. And it comes with, and you'll see right here, inside there is the battery. It is a monster 750 watt battery. So basically you can go out and ride all day, and you've got your button with your 3 different types of assist. You've got Eco, you've got EMTB, which is basically sport mode, and some other bikes we'll talk about in a second, and in turbo. And I love that turbo. It really helps a lot. It makes me where I can go out and go fast and go around the lake and maybe be on a paved trail. I don't ride turbo on the dirt because it is a little too fast, but man, this thing is so much fun. Now, the other thing that you'll notice if you're new to e-bikes, I'm gonna go down here. This is where it plugs in. You plug it in there after you finish your ride for the battery to charge. Down here is the motor. You can see it's integrated into the frame, much like the battery, which is right over here. And this one is by Bosch, which is one of their premium brands. They don't make the bikes, they make the motors and the electronics. Back here in the back, you've got disc brakes, you've got your gears, you've got some wiring. And you'll see here I have flat pedals where I can ride with just regular shoes on. And I also have clipless where I can ride with my more traditional, to me, type bike shoe. Going up to the top, we're going to turn it on. I love that sound. And you can see this bike, look at the range there. This bike is at 70% in its charge. We're going to go through the different modes. I've got turbo. Now in turbo you see 37 miles of range. I'm going to go down to EMTB, 48 miles of range, and then further down, and you can see at 70%. And of course, you can ride it with it off, but I'm going to tell you, you probably wouldn't want to do that with this bike. One thing about these bikes, these e-bikes, when you got the battery, the motor, and everything, they are very heavy. And this Cannondale weighs 60 pounds. Yeah, 60 pounds. And that's something you also want to be very careful about if you're going to put this on a bike rack. You want to make sure that the rack on your car is rated for the weight of your bikes. We did have to upgrade to get a more sturdy bike rack, and that is really important. Now the battery here, it is removable. As I mentioned before, the bike is really heavy. One thing we do when we travel is we take the battery out to reduce the weight. And I'll go around here. And you can see right here, take off this little piece of rubber, and within there, there is a place to stick a key to take the battery out. So the battery remains locked when you have it on your bike, and it does require a key to take it out, and that's a great security feature that most of these bikes come with. The other thing I like about the Cannondale and the Bosch system is the computer that comes with it. You can see here, I just went through earlier and showed you the different modes as far as amount of assist. You got turbo, EMTB, then you also have sport, and then you can eco, or you can just turn it off completely, like I said. You go through, it gives you a lot of different things. You can see power, cadence. For me, heart is really important. I watch that closely when I am riding. And for this particular bike, the heart rate is communicated through my Apple Watch, which is really great. Over here, there's other settings that's showing your elevation, ascent, max elevation during your ride. Just a lot of different data features. For those of you that might be a data junkie, you're really going to love that. Okay, now we're going to move on to my wife's bike, and the brand is Aventon. Aventon is one of the more popular e-bike brands, and the reason I went with this brand is that although this is a direct-to-consumer, you can go online and mail order it, this brand has an extensive dealer network, and the dealer here in my town matches whatever online price and whatever incentive they are doing. And I do think that that bike shop support is really important. If you have an issue with the bike and you have something that needs repair, that bike shop that sold you the bike is not only going to have the expertise, but they're generally really happy to help you. Now, the other thing that's really different on this bike compared to my Cannondale, the Class 1, is where the motor is located. You'll see this is the hub. This is in the back. Now, most of your lower priced e-bikes are going to have some type of hub drive. Most of them are in the rear. I've also heard of, but have not actually seen, a front drive hub. And that is just a less expensive way to manufacture the bike. To me, the disadvantage is that these bikes, they're all going to be heavy. The weight there changes the balance. For someone who has done traditional bike riding, it might seem a little awkward to you at first. The other thing is just the actual ride quality. With all that weight in the back and you're riding a bike, this bike is 53 pounds, there are a lot of bumps you are going to feel. One thing that I think is a must is a little bit of suspension. That is a seat post suspension that we added, and that really has added a lot to the comfort. The other thing you'll notice on comfort is that it rides really high. So when I am riding this bike, or when my wife is riding this bike, you're sitting up straight. You might have back issues. You might be someone that has pain back there, and it makes it really comfortable. The one thing that I would do differently if I were to buy a new bike in this style for myself or my wife is look for something that has some front suspension also. Remember, I mentioned that I have it over here on my mountain bike. That suspension would make the ride far more comfortable. And of course, having a bike with both rear suspension or suspension in the seat post like we have here or in the front does add to the price a little bit. Okay, let's look at the computer on this bike. You'll notice one thing over here. We've got a motorcycle quality clip for our phones, for my wife's phone. She loves having the phone on there. She rides with some music going, and she can also have the maps. The Aventon app, I'm not going to go into detail with that because, quite frankly, I've never used it. It's my wife's bike, but very similar to the Cannondale I just showed you. You can change the different levels of assist. You've got that Eco Assist, the Sport Assist, and you also have the Turbo, which gives you the most. But the other thing, perhaps the most exciting, right over here, that's your throttle. You hit that button and it's going to zip you up to 20 miles an hour. I'll tell you, my wife has a lot of fun laughing as she goes by me after she hits that button when I'm struggling to go up the hill, and she is just zipping past me. Also, we've added a mirror on the side as an accessory. Highly recommend that. The other thing that I do like about this bike is it has a built-in light here in the front, and this is really cool. Back here in the back, there's actually brake lights back here and a turn signal. A little bit of a gimmick, but hey, a lot of fun. The other thing, this bike, we did buy the little rack on the back, and you can see there is a pack that we've added, and all kinds of things can go in there. Hey, you want to ride with a 6-pack of beer? Well, you've got a place to put it. So here we are with my latest edition, the bike that I mentioned that I rode over 40 miles today. It is a Specialized Creo 2 Comp. And what that means, comp, basically it is made out of the less expensive material. You can go really high in the carbon. This bike is alloy. Believe it or not, if I had gone to carbon, that was a $2,000 difference in the bike price. Now, my wife's bike over here, 53 pounds. My mountain bike, 60 pounds. This bike, 33 pounds. So much lighter. How does it get so light? Well, for one thing, the battery is built into the bike. It is not removable. It is only 350 watts. So this bike has a lot less battery power, a lot less range, but the big benefit is that it is much lighter. One thing that I do have, I bought this accessory. This bike does have an extender battery available. You can see that it looks like a water bottle. It goes right here. You plug it in there, and then it goes in there, and it adds another 50% of battery time, which is great. Today when I finished that ride, that 40-mile ride, I still had about 40% battery left, so I could have gone much further. With all these bikes, your battery time is dependent upon how hard you work. The less assist you have, which means the more work you're doing, the longer time you're going to have on that battery and the further you are going to be able to go. So this bike is very different than the others. It did not come with a computer. That is a computer off my old bike that I use. It is a Garmin. But what it has is a little display right here. You can see the screen. You can see here at 100% battery, and this is in turbo mode. I can tell by the color. It has a 30-mile range. Over here, this is, I call this the magic button. So this is on my left hand. I hit that button. The assist goes down. Now it's in sport mode. I hit that button. Assist goes down. It is in eco mode. I hit that button. And that white means there's no assist at all. It is all David in progress pushing this bike down the road. And the bike is so light compared to the other ones. I'm doing a lot of riding without using any assist, which really helps extend that battery time. But the main thing is it keeps me really working hard. I'm able to see my heart up here on the computer. I am able to see the speed, those type of things. I'm still able to see that. Down here, I'm only watching the range that I have, the range it's estimating, my battery time, and my cadence. Now, the other most magic button over here on the right side, this is the button. I hit that. The assist goes up. I just keep doing it. So it's perfect positioning here in the cockpit where I'm riding. I can use that button on the left to turn down the assist. I can do that button on the right to turn up the assist. And I can really help self-regulate what type of ride that I have and that I'm able to do. The great thing, the thing that I am loving most about this bike is it's getting me back to riding with groups. Now you may notice it looks kind of like a mountain bike. You see these tires? Technically this is a gravel bike, and I love that too because I'm able to ride not only on the paved roads, but if I hit a little dirt, I'm going to be just fine as well. Very popular gravel bikes are today. I can swap out these tires if I wanted to something else and to make it less gravelly, or I could put it in a bigger tire to make it even more mountain bikey. Either way, the bike has so much customization, and I'm absolutely loving it. So that is the three bikes. You got your Class 1 down there. Oh, there's my dog. You got your Class 2. You got your Class 3. And oh, by the way, this bike weighs about 33 pounds, not including that extender battery. So you can imagine it's much easier to lift, put on the rack of my car, and to take with me. Lastly, just for comparison, this is my primary bike I had before all these. This is my Specialized Tarmac. And you can see back there, that was from my days of cycling and running. It is not something that is new to us. We've been doing these things for a long time. This bike, full carbon, look at that. It just weighs about 20 pounds. So you are definitely giving up on some weight when you switch to an e-bike. However, hey, that motor, it makes a big difference. So let me ask you, are you someone that would consider switching to an e-bike? How long has it been since you've ridden bikes? You know, I highly recommend them. If you just want to try them out, most cities are going to have some place where you could rent one and have some fun with it. That was our first experience. We rented e-bikes in the national park, and we thought, man, this is great. We have got to get one of these. All right, that's it. There's all the different bikes that we have. I hope you enjoyed this little bit different video for me. I'd love to hear from you. Is an e-bike something that you are considering? If not, why not? And hey, what questions do you have for me about the Class 1, Class 2, or Class 3 bikes? Hey, it's David in Progress. Thank you so much for watching.